The Golden Bird. A king had a beautiful garden, and in the garden was a tree that grew golden apples. These apples were always counted, and around the time they started to get ripe, one would disappear every night. The king was very angry about this, and he told the gardener to watch under the tree all night. The gardener sent his oldest son to watch, but around 12 o'clock he fell asleep. In the morning, another apple was missing. Then the second son was told to watch, and at midnight he fell asleep too. In the morning, another apple was gone. Then the third son said he would watch, but the gardener didn't want him to at first, because he was worried something bad might happen to him. However, he finally agreed, and the young man lay down under the tree to watch. As the clock struck 12, he heard a whooshing noise in the air, and a bird came flying. It was made of pure gold. As it was pecking at one of the apples, the gardener's son jumped up and tried to catch it. But the arrow didn't hurt the bird. The bird only dropped a golden feather from its tail and flew away. The golden feather was brought to the king in the morning, and all the king's helpers were called together. Everyone agreed that the feather was worth more than all the money in the kingdom. But the king said, "One feather is not enough. I want the whole bird." Then the gardener's oldest son went out and thought he would find the golden bird very easily. When he had walked a little way, he came to a wood, and by the side of the wood he saw a fox sitting. He took his bow and aimed it near the fox. Then the fox said, "Don't shoot me, and I will give you some good advice. I know what you're doing, and that you want to find the golden bird. You will come to a village in the evening. When you get there, you will see two hotels across from each other. One of them is very fancy and pretty. Don't go in there. Stay in the other one, even though it might look very small and play." But the son thought, what could a fox know about this? So he let his arrow fly toward the fox. But he missed. The fox put its tail up and ran into the wood. Then he went on his way and came to the village where the two hotels were in the evening. In one of them, people were singing, dancing, and having a party, but the other one looked very dirty and poor. "I would be very silly," he said, "if I went to that messy hotel and left this nice place." So he went into the fancy hotel, ate and drank, and forgot all about the bird and his home. Time went by, and the oldest son didn't come back. No one heard anything about him. So the second son went out, and the same thing happened to him. He met the fox, who gave him the same good advice. But when he came to the two hotels, his oldest brother was standing at the window where the party was, and he called to him to come in. He couldn't resist, so he went in and forgot all about the golden bird and his home, just like his brother. Time went by again, and the youngest son wanted to go out into the world to look for the golden bird. But his father wouldn't let him for a long time. He loved his son very much, and was afraid that something bad might happen to him too, and he wouldn't come back. However, finally his father agreed he could go, because he wouldn't stay home, and as he came to the wood, he met the fox and heard the same good advice. But he was kind to the fox and didn't try to hurt him like his brothers had. So the fox said, "Sit on my tail, and you will travel faster." So he sat down, and the fox started to run. They went so fast over sticks and stones that their hair blew in the wind. When they came to the village, the son followed the fox's advice. Without looking around, he went to the plain hotel and rested there all night. In the morning, the fox came again and met him as he was starting his journey. The fox said, "Go straight ahead until you come to a castle. In front of it, there will be a whole group of soldiers, fast asleep and snoring. Don't pay any attention to them. Go into the castle and keep going until you come to a room where the golden bird is sitting in a wooden cage. Right next to it is a beautiful golden cage. But don't try to take the bird out of the plain cage and put it into the fancy one. If you do, you'll be sorry. Then the fox held out his tail again, and the young man sat down. They went so fast over sticks and stones that their hair blew in the wind. Everything was just as the fox had said in front of the castle gate. So the son went in and found the room where the golden bird was in a wooden cage. Underneath, it was the golden cage, and the 3 golden apples that had been missing were lying nearby. Then he thought, it would be silly to take such a beautiful bird in this plain cage. So he opened the door, grabbed the bird, and put it into the golden cage. But the bird made such a loud scream that all the soldiers woke up. They took him prisoner and brought him to the king. The next morning, the court met to decide what to do with him. When everyone had spoken, they decided he was in serious trouble unless he brought the king the golden horse that could run as fast as the wind. If he did this, he could have the golden bird. So he went out again, feeling sad and hopeless, when suddenly his friend the fox met him. The fox said, "See what happened because you didn't listen to me? But I will still tell you how to find the golden horse if you do what I say. You must go straight ahead until you come to the castle where the horse is in its stall. Next to it, the stable boy will be fast asleep and snoring. Take the horse quietly, but be sure to put the old leather saddle on it, not the golden one that is nearby." Then the son sat down on the fox's tail, and they went so fast over sticks and stones that their hair blew in the wind. Everything went well, and the stable boy was snoring with his hand on the golden saddle. But when the son looked at the horse, he felt bad about putting the leather saddle on it. "I will give him the good one," he said. "I'm sure he deserves it." As he picked up the golden saddle, the stable boy woke up and yelled so loud that all the guards ran in and took him prisoner. In the morning, he was brought to the court again, and they decided he was in serious trouble again. But they agreed that if he could bring them the beautiful princess, he could live and have the bird and the horse. Then he went on his way, very sad. But the old fox came and said, "Why didn't you listen to me? If you had, you would have taken both the bird and the horse. But I will help you one more time. Go straight ahead, and in the evening you will come to a castle. At 12 o'clock at night, the princess goes to the bathhouse. Go to her and give her a kiss, and she will agree to go with you. But be careful not to let her say goodbye to her father and mother." Then the fox held out his tail, and they went so fast over sticks and stones that their hair blew in the wind again. When they came to the castle, everything was just as the fox had said. At 12 o'clock, the young man met the princess going to the bath and gave her a kiss. She agreed to run away with him, but she begged him with many tears to let her say goodbye to her father. At first, he said no, but she cried more and more and fell at his feet. Finally, he agreed. But the moment she came to her father's house, the guards woke up, and he was taken prisoner again. Then he was brought to the king, and the king said, "You will never have my daughter unless you dig away the hill that blocks the view from my window in 8 days. Now this hill was so big that the whole world couldn't take it away. When he had worked for 7 days and had done very little, the fox came and said, "Lie down and go to sleep. I will work for you." In the morning he woke up, and the hill was gone. So he went happily to the king and told him that now that the hill was gone, he must give him the princess. Then the king had to keep his promise, and the young man and the princess went away. The fox came and said to him, "We will have all three, the princess, the horse, and the bird." "Wow," said the young man. "That would be amazing, but how can you do it?" "If you will just listen," said the fox. "It can be done. When you come to the king and he asks for the beautiful princess, you must say, 'Here she is.' Then he will be very happy. You will get on the golden horse that they are going to give you and put out your hand to say goodbye. But shake hands with the princess last. Then quickly lift her onto the horse behind you, kick your heels, and ride away as fast as you can." Everything went well. Then the fox said, "When you come to the castle where the bird is, I will stay with the princess at the—" You will ride in and talk to the king. When he sees that it is the right horse, he will bring out the bird. But you must sit still and say that you want to look at it, to see if it is the real golden bird. When you get it in your hand, ride away. This also happened just as the fox said. They took the bird, the princess got back on the horse, and they rode to a big wood. Then the fox came and said, "Please break the enchantment." But the young man didn't want to do it. So the fox said, "I will at least give you some good advice. Be careful of two things. Don't save anyone from being hanged, and don't sit down by the side of a river." Then he went away. Well, thought the young man, it's not hard to follow that advice. He rode on with the princess until he came to the village where he had left his two brothers. There he heard a lot of noise and shouting. When he asked what was happening, the people said, "Two men face severe punishment." As he got closer, he saw that the two men were his brothers who had made very bad choices. So he said, "Can't they be saved?" But the people said no, unless he gave all his money to the bad men and bought their freedom. Then he didn't stop to think, but paid what they asked. His brothers were set free, and they went with him toward their home. And as they came to the wood where they first met the fox, it was so cool and nice that the two brothers said, "Let's sit down by the side of the river and rest for a while, to eat and drink." So he said yes, and forgot the fox's advice. He sat down on the side of the river, and while he wasn't paying attention, they came up behind him and pushed him down the steep riverbank. They took the princess, the horse, and the bird, and went home to the king, their master. They said, "We have won all this by our hard work." Then there was a big celebration, but the horse wouldn't eat, the bird wouldn't sing, and the princess cried. The youngest son tumbled down the bank. Luckily, it was almost dry, but he was badly shaken and scraped, and the bank was so steep that he couldn't find a way to get out. Then the old fox came again and scolded him for not following his advice. If he had, nothing bad would have happened to him. "But," he said, "I can't leave you here, so grab my tail and hold on tight." Then he pulled him out of the river and said to him, as he got onto the bank, "Your brothers have set guards to capture you if they find you in the kingdom." So he dressed like a poor man and came secretly to the king's court. He was barely inside the doors when the horse started to eat, the bird started to sing, and the princess stopped crying. Then he went to the king and told him all about his brother's bad deeds. They were caught and punished, and he got the princess back. After the king died, he became the ruler of the kingdom. A long time later, he went for a walk in the wood one day, and the old fox met. With tears in his eyes, the fox begged him for help to finally break the enchantment. Finally, he helped him as requested, and in a moment, the fox changed into a man. He turned out to be the princess's brother, who had been lost for many, many years.